War isn't just something that happens anymore. It's infrastructure, it's AI, it's data, and it's one of the most quietly booming markets of the decade. With conflicts rising across the globe, from Ukraine to the South China Sea, and defense budgets hitting historic highs, investing in military and defense stocks isn't just a strategy. It's almost a reflection of how the world is shifting. This isn't about glorifying conflict. It's about recognizing where trillions of dollars are being deployed. In this video, we're diving deep into the top 5 defense stocks to buy right now, plus one bonus moonshot play at the very end that could 10x in the next global defense cycle. If you're serious about catching asymmetric upside in this space, make sure to watch until the end. These aren't just the typical giants you see on Bloomberg. Each stock here plays a unique role in the new war economy, and some of them might surprise you. These companies aren't only selling weapons, they're building surveillance empires, AI-powered logistics platforms, drone swarms, and even military-grade software systems. This is warfare in the 21st century. It's smarter, faster, and terrifyingly efficient. We start with Lockheed Martin, the undisputed king of traditional defense. With annual revenues surpassing $66 billion and contracts directly tied to the U.S. Department of Defense, Lockheed is embedded in the very architecture of global power. They build the F-35, the world's most advanced fighter jet, a program that alone is worth over $1.7 trillion EOS over its full life cycle. But it doesn't stop there. They're building satellite constellations, next-gen hypersonic missiles, and heavily classified systems under black budgets you and I will never read about. Their dividend yield hovers around 2.7%, and their stock has historically acted as a safe haven in times of global instability. What makes Lockheed special right now is its positioning in the space-based defense race. With nations racing to weaponize space, think anti-satellite tech, orbital surveillance, and satellite-based missile defense, Lockheed is investing heavily into this frontier. From contracts with NASA to Pentagon-driven initiatives, they're uniquely positioned to dominate a domain that may define the next global conflict. The F-35 may win airspace, but Lockheed's space assets could win the next-generation battlefield. Now, let's turn to Raytheon, or RTX Corporation after their rebrand. While Lockheed builds hardware, Raytheon is the brain. This is the company behind the guidance systems, radar platforms, and advanced sensors that turn a missile from a dumb bomb into a precise, autonomous killer. Their Patriot missile system is already deployed across dozens of NATO countries. They're also deep into hypersonic missile defense, something no country has fully mastered yet. If and when China deploys hypersonic missiles over Taiwan, Raytheon will likely be the company building the systems that try to intercept them. Beyond that, Raytheon merged with United Technologies, bringing in Pratt & Whitney, a major player in military and commercial aircraft engines. That gives RTX diversified exposure across both military and civilian aerospace markets. And that matters because when peacetime returns, and eventually it will, RTX won't just be a war machine. It will still earn billions from commercial jet engines, satellites, and civil aviation tech. Their earnings per share are growing steadily, and they've continued to raise dividends even through the chaos of 2020 and 22. Now, let's talk about Northrop Grumman, the most secretive name on this list. Northrop is often seen as the CIA of defense contractors. If Lockheed is the brawn and Raytheon the sensors, Northrop is the shadow. They build stealth bombers, spy satellites, and operate across the deepest Black Ops side of U.S. defense. The new B-21 Raider stealth bomber, set to replace the B-2, is their crown jewel. It's fully integrated with AI data systems and remote operations. It could even launch nuclear strikes autonomously in future configurations. But where Northrop really shines is in space warfare and orbital defense. Their contracts with the U.S. Space Force and National Reconnaissance Office put them at the core of American orbital dominance. With China aggressively expanding its satellite network and rumors of space-based weapons surfacing, this is a frontier no investor can ignore. Northrop is also building missile-tracking satellites that can detect hypersonic threats, something traditional radar can't do. Their cybersecurity wing is also growing. As cyber warfare becomes an everyday weapon, with ransomware attacks, digital sabotage, and algorithmic warfare, Northrop is building the virtual shields nations need. Their contracts here are just beginning, but the future upside is huge. Valuation-wise, Northrop trades at a slight premium, but for good reason. It's one of the most future-proof bets in the industry. The fourth stock on our list is L3Harris Technologies. This name doesn't get headlines like Lockheed or Northrop, but in many ways, it's the glue holding the modern battlefield together. They specialize in communication systems, data links, and tactical networks. Think encrypted radios used by Navy SEALs, battlefield tablets that deliver real-time drone footage, and autonomous systems used for border control and surveillance. What makes L3Harris stand out is its role in connecting everything. In modern war, data is king. A fighter jet is only as good as the targeting data it receives. A missile is only as smart as the sensor input it's fed. And a commander is only as effective as the live intel they get. L3Harris provides the communication highways that make all of that possible. They're also building drone swarms, AI-assisted surveillance systems, and recently acquired Aerojet Rocketdyne, which expands their missile propulsion capabilities. That's a strategic acquisition that positions L3Harris to compete directly with legacy players in rocket tech. The stock has been undervalued for years, but recent analyst upgrades suggest Wall Street is finally waking up. Next is our European entry, Rheinmetall AG. Based in Germany, Rheinmetall has become one of Europe's key players in defense, especially after the Ukraine war revealed just how underprepared many EU countries were. From tanks to artillery to vehicle protection systems, Rheinmetall is leading the effort to rearm NATO's eastern flank. Germany's €100 billion defense modernization budget has already started flowing into companies like Rheinmetall. And it's not just Germany. Countries like Hungary, Poland, and even the Netherlands are placing major orders. This isn't a short-term story. Europe's defense renaissance is just beginning. Rheinmetall is not just a war play, it's a geopolitical reset trade. And last, but definitely not least, our moonshot pick. A tiny company with big dreams. Meet Red Cat Holdings. This small-cap U.S. firm builds tactical drones for military, border control, and law enforcement. Their subsidiary Teal Drones was one of only a few companies approved for U.S. military-grade drone manufacturing. In an age where drone warfare is scaling faster than most governments can regulate, Red Cat could become the next breakout star, just like AeroVironment did during the early days of UAV warfare. High risk, but potentially explosive returns. The float is small, volume is rising, and government contracts are starting to flow. This is the kind of company that goes from $2 to $20 when one big defense deal is secured. Let's zoom out for a second. The global defense budget in 2024 exceeded $2.4 trillion. The US alone spends over $800 billion annually, and that number is expected to rise. NATO is ramping up, Germany just doubled its military budget, and even Japan is abandoning its post-WW2 pacifism to build a modern defense force. Geopolitical hotspots are multiplying. Taiwan, the South China Sea, the Arctic, Ukraine, the Sahel, and Africa. Everywhere you look, defense is no longer optional. It's mandatory. And the companies building the tools, systems, and intelligence infrastructure for this new world are positioned to benefit for decades. But let's be clear, we're not rooting for war. We're observing reality. And the reality is this: defense stocks are no longer boring. They're tech stocks, space stocks, data stocks. And if you pick the right ones, you don't just ride the wave, you own the blueprint for how the modern world defends itself. That's why I own defense. Not because I like what it represents, but because I understand what it enables. Nations don't run without security. Markets don't function without stability. And as long as there are threats, there will be budgets and businesses built to contain them. If you want to invest in this space, all mentioned stocks, Lockheed, Raytheon, Northrop, L3Harris, Rheinmetall, Palantir, and Red Cat, are available on most platforms. I personally use BitGet for crypto hedging and eToro for a bit of both. You'll find my links in the description below. And yes, I get a small kickback if you sign up, which helps support the channel. Now is not the time to look away. The world is changing, capital is moving, and defense might be the most underrated sector of this decade. Stay focused, stay strategic, and build a portfolio that can survive reality.